Hello and welcome to the Wayward Skein. This is episode 36. My name is Lynn. I'm also known as Toll Baby pretty much anywhere there is anywhere to be on the internet. Well, that's not true. I'm on Ravelry, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Etsy. There's a couple of other places too, but those are the main places I tend to frequent. I'm really sorry about this shirt. I should have thought that out a little bit better. It's what I wear to work, and I'm not sure I'm going to wear it anymore because it actually hurts me to look at it. Like, looking down at myself, it's worse under fluorescence. It's not too bad in my living room, but yeah, it's pretty bad under fluorescence. So today is Monday, March 4th, and I'm going to start trying to record on Monday evenings. Just because... Oh, hello, kitty. Hi. Hi. She's like, what, lady? Because Sundays are usually spent running back and forth to my mom's house. We all gather at my mom's house for dinner every Sunday. This week, because my dad has been in the hospital, we went to the hospital, visited him, and then we all went out to dinner. We sprung him on a 4-hour pass, so he actually took us all out to dinner because it was my brother's birthday on Saturday. My brother turned 39, and the kitty does not want to be on camera. What? Oh, you do want to be on camera. You just want to be closer. Hi. Where'd you go? She's directly behind me. Hi. You wanted to come say hi to your adoring public, did you? Nope, apparently not. The second I tried to pick her up, she was like, ah! Cats. They're like toddlers, I swear. Really? Oh, fine. Come here. There we go. You just wanted to come say hi, huh? Cats. My niece was about as temperamental yesterday. She's 15 months old. 15? 14? Thereabouts. And she's very, very clingy with mommy and daddy. So yesterday, anytime anybody would come near her, she'd be like, ah! So I did manage to steal her for a diaper change. Whoopee. But that was the only time she willingly went to anybody else. My mom didn't get to hold her at all. She's pretty cranky as baby. Well, no, she's not cranky, but she is teething right now. She's got her molars coming in. So she's a little fussy and clingy, and you're really heavy. So anyway, yeah, we went out for dinner last night. My 6-year-old niece was climbing all over my 20-year-old. My kid turned 20. That still bothers me. I'm not going to ask why your foot is sticky. So anyway, that was my weekend. At some point last week, my uncle died. It was Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night, because my mom called me like really late and I had to get up super early the next morning. I was a bit of a zombie on Friday. He was my dad's oldest brother, and he's my godfather, and a bit of a complicated relationship. We didn't really see each other much, but anyway. So we're not going to have a funeral or anything like that. It's going to be really... Now she's hopping up and tapping my arm for me to pet her. You had your chance. Hello. So it's been a bit of a rough week. I'm also doing the jobs of 2.5 people right now because our big boss, as I mentioned last week, accepted a job in another group. So, stop headbutting me. Quit it. So I am covering for I'm covering for the scheduling assistant, but I'm also doing some of the executive assistant's work. Well, today one of the other admin assistants in our group wasn't there, so I was sort of covering for her too. Sort of. So I was 4 people today. It was a bit much. I was pretty tired by the time I left work. So, anyway. Sorry. I let it cool quite a bit, so it's very, very good right now. I'm drinking Super Ginger, which is another David's tea. What a shock. A couple of my friends have started ordering from Adagio Teas, so I may have to give them a try. she's batting around an empty bottle she likes to play with. So yeah, my week was a little hectic. My weekend was even more so. So that's the idea behind, stop that. I'm sorry, she's like a big baby. So she, stop it with the bottle. Oy. So yeah, it was a little bit hectic, and that's the idea behind recording on Monday nights. So let's get right into the knitting. I don't know if I've talked about Super Ginger before. It was one of the first teas that I discovered from David's. It's one of my favorites. And I still just love my Bijou Basin Ranch mugs. I actually still have one wrapped up in my bedroom. I've only been using the one. So it's a tea that has ginger, pink peppercorns, I believe there's some lemongrass in there. There's a few other things too. It's spicy, it's zingy, it's warming. It's one of my favorite big hugs, and it's really good when you have an upset stomach or when you're having trouble digesting stuff. It's a good tea for that as well, because ginger helps digestion. So I actually have some knitting progress. I'm so proud of myself. I have a half-finished object. Yep. I finished a sock. I'm super happy with them. So these are the vanilla latte socks, and I'm an idiot because once again I did not look it up. Virginia Rose Jeans is her name. Virginia or Victoria? I think it's Virginia Rose Jeans, Jeanes, is her last name, and these are fantastic socks. I just love knitting them. The colors are a little, they're pretty close. They're pretty close to what they actually are. The grays are a little muted, but you can actually see the difference in tones between the grays. This is the bluer gray, and this is the brownie or gray, taupier gray. So I knit myself a women's medium because I wear size 8.5 shoes. So this fits me absolutely perfectly. I did not do the heel that they called for in the pattern. I did my heel flap and gusset because that fits me better. But other than that, I followed the pattern and I love the sock. And I have actually, where did it? It's right there in my little whoopie pie bag. I've actually just started the second one this morning. And I have about half the cuff done. So I didn't exactly follow my usual recipe for socks for this one. I decided to let the stripes tell me what to do. So I ended the cuff after the first 2 stripes. And then I did 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes of leg. And then the heel flap took 3 stripes. And then I was back into, I got 1 row of the gray across the 2 stripes of green. So I thought that was pretty cool. From the heel flap. And then when I got to the end of the decreases right here, I went, when I started the gray stripe here, that's when I started the decreases, because that was the length of my hand from the end of the heel. If you look here, the heel of my hand is on the bottom of the heel, and right at the end of my middle finger is where I start the decreases for my toes. So that was a trick I learned from the Yarn Harlot. She said the length of your hand from the heel to the tip of your middle finger is how long your foot is before you start the toe decreases. If you're going toe up, it's how long from the end of your toe till you start the heel, the gusset increases for the heel. So she likes using the, what's he called? I want to say Vesuvius, but that's a volcano. Vitruvian Man, is that right? But anyway, that drawing by Da Vinci, she said that is a drawing that will teach you the proportions of the human body and how exact they are. Like, there's no way that this is random, because as anybody who's ever watched the Pretty Woman movie knows, the length of your arm from the inside of your elbow to your wrist is how long your foot is. And yes, we've all sat there with our bare feet and our arms. It's true. Your hand, from the heel of your hand to the tip of your middle finger, is how long you need to knit a hat, unless you're folding the cuff. Obviously, then you have to add for the folded cuff. But that's how long you need to knit a hat before you start the crown decreases for it to cover your ears. That's exactly how long you have to knit it. I've never had that fail. Also, the distance from the tip of your middle finger down and out to the tip of your thumb, 3 times is the circumference of your head. So it's actually pretty useful to have handprints of people that you like to knit for, because you will be able to knit them socks, you'll be able to knit them mittens, and you'll be able to knit them hats. Anyway, and these are all things that I learned from the Yarn Harlot. I believe that was in the Grok the Sock class that we learned all those things. So I do have my sock in my lovely little needle keeper from Mandy Pinecone Crafts. I love this thing. It is one of my favorite tools. She made me 4 or 5 of them. I have one of them is my squares kit for my mitered square blanket. One of them is the one I keep all my spare needles in. I interchange the others. I use all of them. They're great. So the socks are knit out of Juliana's fiber. And I tried to do an everlasting gobstopper ball. Didn't do too bad a job. This is her Lucid Dream sock in the Raver colorway. She had a club a few years ago that was grays and brights. There were 2 different shades of gray and 2 different really bright colors. So this is one of them. And I love her yarn. I miss her so much. Not just for the yarn, Juliana. I miss you. She sort of disappeared off the face of the earth a few years ago, and it took me a while to take the hint and leave her alone, but I finally took the hint and left her alone. I feel really bad because I'm not sure what happened, but I really miss her. So that's my sock, and I use a 2.5 millimeter needle, which is US 1.5. And these are on my, I think they're called Bryson sock blockers that Selma gave me for Christmas a couple of years ago. So now I just have to find the other one. I need to clean my desk. There's piles of stuff all over my desk. So I'm sure if I clean my desk, I will find the other one. Because I'm fairly certain it's on here somewhere. So that was some of the knitting progress I made this week. And I had to force myself to do it. Like, I honestly had to force myself. But I got the color work part, and my yarn is dipping into my tea here. Hang on. Put the tea up here. So I finished the color part of the Color Affection shawl. Now I am starting a single colored section that is all going to be the brown. It's a solid stripe of brown across the bottom. I'm going to try and pull the pattern out without knocking anything over. There we go. So now I am about to start this solid stripe at the bottom. And mine is going to be in brown. So this is the Color Affection by Vera Valimaki. It's a gorgeous shawl. It came out several years ago. I wasn't as strong a knitter at the time. There's no date. Vera, there's no date on this thing. Usually when you put a copyright notice, you put a date on it. But anyway, she doesn't have a date on it. And I'm not going to nitpick. So it is, sorry, it's upside down. It starts with this lovely, and I'm on the right side, solid bit up here, which is Night Owl fibers in Rusty Hook. Then it starts into this 2-color striping section up here, which I added in Pumpkin Spice Latte. Again, Night Owl fibers. They're all Night Owl fibers yarns. And then I added in the 3rd stripe, which is the brown. And that, as you can see here, meets all along the edge of the 2 stripes in short rows. And that is Leather Boots. So 3 Night Owl fiber basic sock yarns. Where's the Rusty Hook? There it is. It got pretty small. So the Rusty Hook, this is how much I have left. The Pumpkin Spice Latte, I have this much left. And I'm probably going to use up most of this doing the solid stripe at the bottom. So this is the Leather Boots. So I'm super, super happy to have a little bit of each of these left so that I can put them into my blanket and have a few minis left over for friends. So for this one, I've been using a 4.5 millimeter needle, which is a US 7. And where did my stitch markers just go? They're there. Okay, so last week I showed you I had gotten to here. This week I literally had to do this teal stripe, this orange stripe, this brown stripe, and this teal stripe. That's all I had to do was those 4 stripes, and it took me all freaking week to do it. I had to force myself to do 2 last night. So now I'm done with the color, and now I can just finish the solid stripe at the bottom. I really want to finish this, so I anticipate that I'll be able to finish it before next weekend, next time I record. I can't guarantee it, but I would very much like to. That's my goal with this, is to finish it. My goal with the sock is to get to the bottom of the heel. Right now I'm right about here. I still have a couple of rows of cuff to do. I would like to get through the leg, which should be fairly quick, and the heel flap and turn. So that's my goal, is to make it to here by next time I record. Who knows, I might surprise myself and do a whole bunch of knitting. But I have been doing a lot more reading, so less knitting time, more reading time, worth it. I mean, I already do an awful lot of knitting. I picked up The Pilot's Wife again by Anne Shreve, and I made it through, I think, 80 pages the other night. I actually put myself to bed around 8:30 and just laid there reading my book, and it was fabulous. I really enjoyed it, and I plan on doing it again tonight. I'm trying to do less playing games on my phone and messing around on the computer until I fall asleep, and more, you know, just reading and relaxing. I put on some lovely cello music that I had, and it was just a really nice evening. I had a nice cold bottle of water to drink. I had my book. I had my music. It was fantastic. So that was my reading. I haven't picked up anything new yet because obviously I'm a monogamous reader. I only read one thing at a time. When I try to read more than one thing at a time, I get confused and frustrated, and I don't really retain any of it. So I prefer to just read one thing at a time. On TV, I've continued watching Scrubs, and I'm very much enjoying it. The annoying baby voice largely went away after second 2. He still pulls it out once in a while when he's trying to be cutesy, but like seriously, it goes with the character at this point. He pulls it out when the character demands it. It's not all the time anymore. Season 2, it was all the time, and it was really irritating. And unfortunately, Sarah Chalk's character has continued to do it all the time, and it's a bit annoying, but her character has very few redeeming features for me. I don't like her at all. I like the actress, but I don't like her character at all. I don't think... she's not likable. I'm also having problems with the Carla character. She's not very likable either, but I think they're not really made to be likable. They're made to be comedic sidekicks. And I tend to sort of resent that because that's not the only purpose women serve. But it seems to be the only purpose they serve in this show. So I'm still enjoying it. I'm plowing through it. That whole I'm going to watch less TV. Pfft, yeah, right. I have watched less. It's just that these episodes are so short that I make it through a lot more of them in a shorter period of time. So I'm used to whatever I'm watching taking 45 minutes to an hour. These are 22-minute episodes, so I'm just whipping through them. And so I'm just past the middle of season 4 right now. I was nearing the end of season 2 last time I talked to you guys. So I'm getting there. There's 9 seasons, and so far it's still got me hooked. It was funny because one of the viewers was saying she left a comment on YouTube that she didn't make it past the first couple of episodes, so she was anxious to see if I could stick with it. So far I'm sticking with it. I am enjoying it, and it's a nice palate cleanser after the way work has been lately. Work has been very stressful. And not because my job is bad, not because my boss is bad. My boss is fabulous. Honestly, if she ever retires, she has to take me with her. I will never willingly leave this job. I really, really love working with my boss. I like what I do. I work with a good bunch of people. There are some frustrating moments. It's just right now we're in a period of upheaval and transition, and it's a lot of change. It's a lot of extra responsibility until they hire new people to fill those positions. So things will go back to normal at some point, and I will have a life outside of work again, because I'm starting to realize that I don't really have a life outside of work. And part of that is depression. And part of it is the fact that I'm so overwhelmed right now with what's been going on at work. I think a bigger part of it is depression. A few weeks ago, my daughter moved into her father's house. Up until about 6 months ago, both my kids lived here. And it was difficult. My daughter had stayed at her dad's for a little while, about a year beforehand. And then she moved back here. I had both kids. Then my son decided he was going to move into his father's house. Okay, fine. You know, they get along very well. And he wasn't getting along with his sister. And it was stressing him out. So he went and stayed with his dad. Well, a few weeks ago, she decided that she didn't like the rules here. And she went and stayed with her dad as well. Well, their dad. Same guy. So since she's been at her dad's, on nights when I don't have to go to my second job, I'll stay at work till like 6:30. Just doing whatever. Not wanting to come home. And on nights when I do have my second job, I leave my first job early. And I take the bus, pick up my car, drive to second work, come home from second work, go to bed. So basically I've been working, staring at a computer screen, watching TV episodes, and sleeping. That's been my entire life for the last few weeks. And I know that I'm sort of sinking into this bleh sort of state where I do nothing, I talk to no one, and I'm trying to pull myself back out of it. There has been crying at work. Not because it's that bad, but because I'm that bad. I am having difficulty controlling my emotions. I'm having difficulty coping with things that I would normally just brush off. So I think it's about time for me to talk to my doctor and go see somebody and possibly look for chemical assistance. Possibly not. Talking to somebody might be enough. This happens to me every decade or so. I go through cyclical depression. So when I was younger, it was every 5 to 7 years. And at this point, it's been a really long time. But it feels familiar. So it's time for me to start, looking for help with that sort of thing. And these lights are really super bright. So anyway, that's been that. And so I'm trying to see friends more, get out of the house, do something I'm interested in, organize something, purge a box or two. I'm trying to reduce the amount of stuff I have before Rob moves here in the fall. He's doing the same at home. He's been emptying all the boxes out of his basement, which have been there since he moved in. His parents and his brother stored a lot of stuff at his house when he first bought that house, because his mom went through a big move shortly after he bought that house, and his brother also went through a few moves and stored stuff at his place. So he's going through these boxes, returning things to their people, and getting rid of the stuff he doesn't want anymore, and we're both sort of trying to get rid of excess stuff. So that's helping. I'm seeing signs of spring outside. It's kind of awesome. It's still damn cold and it's still snowing. but we've had some really nice days. And even when it's minus 15, stuff is melting. So there's definitely a lot more heat coming from the sun than there has been in the last few weeks. When the sun is out, it is warm. Even if the thermometer says minus 15, you're warm outside. I'm okay in a hoodie most of the time. I've actually survived most of the winter in the hoodie that I bought at Rhinebeck. I know I'm a little weird. I don't really feel cold all that much. So I don't put the big coat on until it's colder than minus 10 Celsius. And I always regret having worn the big coat because by the time I leave work at the end of the afternoon, it's warm out. So that's happened to me 3 or 4 times now this last couple of weeks that I've worn my big coat to work and really regretted it when I left work. I don't dare leave it behind in my locker at work though, because I never know what it's going to be like the next morning. I realized that the app on my phone, the app that came with my phone, the weather app, was really not accurate. So I re-downloaded What the Forecast, and that seems to be giving me a clearer picture of what the temperature is when I leave the house, because the other day it told me, the weather app on the phone said that it was minus 6 outside. I get outside, it's minus 14. I'm wearing a hoodie. I turned around, I came back inside, I got the big coat. It's frustrating because especially when you have as volatile weather as we have here, you need to know what's going on. So it has been a little volatile outside. Hoping that's going to end soon. It's early March, so it's early for it to be this springy. I always get a kick out of Groundhog Day because they're like, oh, if the groundhog sees a shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. We live in freaking Canada. Middle of March is, still winter. What a shock. We don't get spring earlier than the middle to late March. I mean, I've always found that ridiculous. I wonder if that's like how Americans gauge it, because here saying, oh no, we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. Well, duh. It snows in April. It has snowed in May. It's not surprising that in the middle of March, it's still cold out. So I kind of get a kick out of that. I always find it funny when people are like, oh, darn, he saw his shadow. Doesn't matter. It'd still be cold by mid-March anyway. So there are quite a few podcasts that put out new stuff this week. The Steeped in Books channel, who is Sarah, the Canadian Knitter podcast, also True Canuck Girl on Ravelry. She put out 3 new videos this week. I was super excited. She had her February used book haul. I always love watching those. Because I like, my treat when I get my tax refund is to go to Value Village and spend like $60 on books. And that's a lot of books at Value Village. That's my big treat every year. I bring the kids to Chapters. I let them pick out some books. Our big splurge every year when I get my tax refund is books. Because we're nerds. She also put out her March 2019 TBR and her weekly reading vlog for this week. So those are all worth watching. The Knitting Expat did something I was really excited about this week. She didn't put out a standard episode, but she put out an ASMR video. If you've never heard of ASMR, it is auto-sensory meridian response. It's when certain sounds or certain seeing certain things like visualizations, people moving their hands around, things like that, give you sort of a tingly feeling in your scalp. I've had that since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, and this didn't always happen in church, it happened when I was a little kid with the priest that we had. The way he spoke, the tone of his voice, I would just get tingles. Like I would get shivers down my spine listening to him talk. I loved it so much. And I get that from certain sounds. I get it from relaxation techniques like guided meditations and things like that. It's a really cool, and there are lots of ASMR videos on YouTube, trust me. There are several that I really enjoy. I like to watch Reiki videos because I find them very relaxing. And anyway, so the Knitting Expat put out an ASMR video about spinning. And so I was really excited to see that because it's one of my particular interests. The Knit Girls put out episode 429. The Cat Lady podcast put out episode 93. Must Love Yarn put out a special episode about their Unwind Knit Retreat, which took place last weekend. I really, really, really want to go to that one year. Really want to go. It looks like so much fun. And my friend Christy of, come on, Fiber Stash was there. She had a booth at the knitting retreat. And Night Owl Fibers put out a neat video. It was a tutorial on weaving in ends as you knit. So it wasn't a standard episode. She put one out last week. Episode 23 came out, but the video this week is really a tutorial video, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's all there was this week. There were not a ton of podcast episodes out. Selma is currently in Uruguay with her... I probably said that completely wrong. I tried to say it the way she says it. She is in Uruguay with her husband and his family. Excuse me. And his family. So she's been putting out little snippet videos on Instagram. She's been putting out story videos, which is really cool. They've done horseback riding. They've done boat rides. And she's been sharing all of this stuff on Instagram. So that's pretty cool. And I wanted to send some really, 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 really big squishy hugs out to a couple of friends who are dealing with some stuff. And that's all I'm going to say. So, Paula, I love you. Big hug. And I'm sending a really big hug to my friend Kate. So, they're both dealing with a lot of unpleasant stuff right now. And so, that's my way of trying to make them feel better. So, I think that's about all I've got to talk to you guys about. I mean, there's yarn everywhere here, but I'm not actually working on anything, so, other than the sock and the shawl. So I'm going to try and get my Color Affection finished this week, and I'm going to try to get to the end of the heel turn, gusset, heel flap, and heel turn on the second sock. I'm not going to worry about the gusset decreases. I've got time. I mean, it's not like I have a deadline for these. They're my socks. I'll wear them when I wear them. They are really pretty and very springy, so I'm very happy about that. And I really love knitting with this yarn, so that's a plus too. I'm knitting with all yarns that have meaning for me, so that's really exciting to me. So this week is going to be fairly busy. I'm also helping plan the party for the Director General, the executive assistant, and the scheduling assistant who went to the other department. So we're having that on Friday, and I'm doing some of the planning. So there's that in addition to my regular job too. So I think I'm going to finish uploading this and take myself off to bed and read for a little while before I call Rob to say goodnight. So I will say goodbye to all of you and hope that you all have a fantastic week, and please be kind to one another. Bye.